Hello and welcome to Lobajit Gaming, and welcome to a topic I wanted to discuss for a while, and that is the situation with Ubisoft. Now, I've been having a hard time recently recommending games from Ubisoft that are on sale, mostly because I don't see good value in them. I don't consider them good games anymore. And they're bloated, expensive, and there are a few other anti-consumer things they tend to do that I want to discuss. So we've got the latest Assassin's Creed game announced recently, coming out 15th of November. We got a trailer. I did not even bother watching it because I'm not interested anymore. I kind of dropped off after Black Flag. And even Black Flag, if it wasn't for the pirate stuff, wasn't really that great a game. It was the mechanic with the ships and everything that made it fun. And it was hardly an Assassin's Creed game, to be fair. Anyway, so I was interested in the Assassin's Creed series, and I'll show you my Ubisoft library. So you can see here, this is the library, all the games I have on Ubisoft. You can see I have the Anno games, 1602, 1404. They have the history version as well, 1701, 1800, Assassin's Creed game, even the 3 Chronicles games, all the way up to around Syndicate Origins. I have them. Original game is here, Far Cry 4, Blood Dragon, Primal, stuff like that. Crew, that's another one, interesting one. So the issue I have with Ubisoft, there's several issues. First up, let's look at the pricing. So we have the pre-orders here. By the way, it's not on Steam, so it's only on Ubisoft and on Epic. This shows the Indian prices here, but I think this is 70, 90, and I believe 130 US dollars for the 3 different versions, which is insane in my opinion. They keep saying that the games are still 60 and 70. Where is the $60 game anymore? I don't see a AAA game for 60 these days. Well, there may be some, but most of them are 70 minimum. And then they have multiple super duper unnecessary editions, which have not really that much more, but they charge you a lot more for people who like to pre-order. Now, another issue I have is within a month or two, these games will be heavily discounted, 30% off, 40% off. We saw recently with the Crew Motorfest, I think a month later it was already 40% off or something. So their whole strategy is to make money off the pre-orders and the people who are buying it at launch, the hardcore fanboys with more money, I guess, than sense in some cases. But yeah, so this seems to be the trend, and I don't like this trend. First of all, I like to have the complete game. If I'm buying the standard edition, it feels like it is like the incomplete version. And they seem to have done this with every kind of game. So that is the first issue. Then we also have the issue of getting comfortable not owning our games. So if that is the thing that I'm not really interested anymore. Like look at like I mentioned GOG quite a lot for this simple reason. You can own your games over there. Physical discs also help to some extent, I guess, because the other thing they like to do is simply straight up remove games from your library that you paid for. So classic case in point, you all are familiar with the drama that was the Crew. Look what happens when I click on download. Error occurred while launching this game. No licenses. What do you mean no licenses? I bought this game. I actually bought this game back when it came out, 2015 or so, I think. Yeah, something like that, 14, 15. And then they gave it away for free as well, 2016, I think. They were celebrating an anniversary, and every month they were giving away a free game. So they had given this away back then. And so the game I paid for, I think I paid £20 or something. I was in the UK at the time, because it seemed like an interesting idea. You have the whole United States, you can, travel, at least a miniaturized version. So yeah, so I paid for a game that they removed from my library. And the annoying thing is people make noise and talk about this for a couple of weeks, and then they move on to the next controversy. So I don't want that. I use the classic strategy of using my wallet to make a statement. So I'm not going to buy anything. In fact, I'm not even going to like try and recommend other games, because this can happen to anything. Most of these games have some sort of online activation, you need to be connected or something. Although they did make a statement about the new one that you won't need that, it'll be available offline. But why is that such a big deal? Why is it mentioned separately? So yeah, I'm really struggling to see a reason to even recommend these guys because their games are bloated. The Assassin's Creed games, I haven't played the recent ones, but I'm sure they still have those tailing missions that people hated right from the first game pretty much, and they still have those. And you have the whole map festooned with markers and question marks and exclamation points and whatever. So they are a company that is charging 130 for a game, 130 US dollars. Then they will also tell you to get subscriptions because this is what most of the industry wants to do. Like look at all the software nowadays, Adobe Acrobat, Photoshop, or whatever. You don't have that option anymore to just buy the damn product. You have to sign up to monthly subscription service. And this is the model all of them want to do with software. Like you keep paying every month a little bit. Sometimes you may forget to cancel it. They'll charge you something. And you don't own the games. They'll remove it from your library even if you bought it. So this is what's happening more and more. They are getting away with it. And gamers tend to make a little bit of noise when the issue pops up for a couple of weeks maybe. And then they move on to the next thing. Now look at this Anno 1800. So basically, if you're not familiar with the Anno franchise, this was the first game, 1602. Then there was one called 1503. Then there was 1701, 1404, and then a few more. 1800 is the latest one. Now, the Anno series originally came out in the late 90s, 98, I think this was their first game. And back then, it was not under Ubisoft. It was a different company. It was I think, an Austrian or a German studio that developed it, and a publisher was German as well, I think. So this one was not a Ubisoft original game, basically. Then we had 1503. The third game, 1701, this is, I think, when Ubisoft came into the picture. They had bought the studio, whatever, a year earlier, and then they made this game. And this was a very good game, probably the best of the early games, in my opinion, because it was very well designed. The interface was very good. UI was excellent, easy to navigate and set up trade routes and do things like that. So it was a very good game. I remember playing it and really liking it and the things they've done. They had taken a lot of the feedback from their gamers and the community and implemented them. So this was the good old days, I guess. Then, of course, we had the glory days of the early Assassin's Creed games and, the early Far Cry games. Now, the reason you see Far Cry 3 here 3 times, I had bought the game on Steam. So this is that version which you need to connect anyway. Then they gave it away as well. And then I got this free when I bought Far Cry 5 Gold Edition, which includes these 2 games. You get this free. I don't know if it's still a thing, but that's how I got this third version. And also the retail price. That's another thing that has increased considerably over the years. So this one was Far Cry 3 Deluxe Edition. Back then they had 2 versions. Deluxe Edition had the 3 horror commissions, the guy with the monkeys. And so this version, I paid 124 rupees for this one in 2016, I think, 15, 16. So 16. So 124. This is now like 500 or something. On sale might be cheaper. But yeah, the retail price has gone up even for the old stuff. New stuff is just a boring mess. Half the time, you don't know which version to get the complete experience. So basically, 3 reasons for me personally. Prices that don't justify the product. Then we have the boring gameplay, you could say. They remove stuff from your library. They don't want you to own games anymore. So yeah, also another reason, what I realized is this whole Xbox thing, Xbox buying Activision Blizzard. If you think about it, at the end of the day, it was all about Call of Duty. They don't really care about anything else. Like you have seen all the studios they have shut down recently. They've shut down all of them. Sony was blocking that deal simply because of Call of Duty. And now Xbox is going to change the pricing structure of Call of Duty when they add it to Game Pass. Well, the pricing structure of the Game Pass when they add Call of Duty. So it was all about Call of Duty. They don't seem to care about anything else. At least that seems to be the case here. They wanted Activision Blizzard for Call of Duty, which they got now. Let's see what happens. Maybe they'll finally ruin Call of Duty as well. I mean, I don't understand how people still play it, but anyway, that's besides the point. Also, I was talking about Anno 1800. So this is the latest Anno. This is a proper Ubisoft product. It's still a good game, don't get me wrong. But look at what we have here. We have Anno 1800, the base game. Now, this game came out in 2018. It came to Steam a little later, as you can see here. It was originally only on Ubisoft and Epic. A year later, it came out here. So basically, what I'm trying to say is this is a 6-year-old game. $60 base price still. Year 5 Gold Edition, $100. Definitive anniversary, very cute. $130. Then you have all these bundles and all the DLCs. Anno pretty much only had like main game plus an expansion, usually in the past. So yeah. So in order to enjoy gaming, you need to be super rich. Now, the thing that annoys the hell out of me is games were cheaper, more fun, better made, and now you're paying even more money. Okay, that justification is, okay, the costs have gone up and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair enough. But we are not suddenly making more money, are we? The game, it seems like the whole industry, from the GPU, CPU manufacturers, to the media, to the influencers, they're all like against us. Like they're all together trying to extract as much of our money as possible, along with the time as well, let's say. So they want you to keep playing their game all the time, keep spending money, keep buying all the crap DLCs that they release, and the games are boring as well. So while everybody's arguing and fighting over the new game and the Black Samurai and all that nonsense, that is basically, I feel like that's just part of marketing these days with all the new games. Like, look at every new game that comes out, or there's some drama every week about another game. And I think that is part of marketing these days. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of fake accounts, a lot of paid influencers who tweet, because I've seen a lot of influencers tweet the exact same thing at the exact same time. It's almost like they're given a memo at the same time to tweet something like this. And they do. And the agenda is always seems to be to get it trending, get the tweets out, get people talking. So as they say, like any publicity is good publicity, that sort of thing. So there'll always be some drama, and then a week later they'll move on to the next thing. So it's Assassin's Creed Shadows week, basically. So, but what I seem to see is that all this drama is not focusing on the main things, which is the 130 price tag, the fact that Ubisoft recently removed the crew from everyone's libraries, and also they don't want you owning games anymore. So nobody seems to be talking about those, or at least not long-term enough, in my opinion. But I've made my decision not to, support these guys as much as possible. I don't know what it would take for me to break this and, buy a Ubisoft game. Maybe if it's on GOG. Do we have any games on GOG from Ubisoft? I think some of the old stuff is there. I think the first Assassin's Creed is there. The early Far Cry games are there. Far Cry 2 probably. Yeah, Far Cry 2 is also on sale. DRM free, so you won't have to, no activation, no online connection. I don't have this on GOG, but I would be okay buying it here because games were good. These games were good back in the day. And if we don't have this nonsense of them removing it from our libraries, I don't mind. But yeah, I'm having a hard time mentioning and recommending games from Ubisoft on sale on my videos. And I was thinking about what to do. Like, should I still mention them for those who really want them, or just ignore as if they don't exist? Anyway, just had this on my mind. I wanted to talk about this. Let me know your thoughts as well. Are you a big Assassin's Creed fan? Are you a big Far Cry fan? Because for me, Ubisoft was kind of a big deal like 10, 12 years ago. Because I got back into gaming properly because of these games, Assassin's Creed games being the main reason. And then, of course, the Far Cry games. And I remember like waiting till the end of the year for the next Assassin's Creed game to come out, like seeing the trailers getting hyped. This happened all the way up until Unity, in fact. Unity broke the mold because it was so buggy at launch. And yeah, so that was the first major AAA game that I think messed up the launch so badly, the PC port. Then we also had stuff like Arkham Knight, which was the final Arkham game. That was pretty bad. I think Arkham Knight came before this. Anyway, that is when these things started happening. But yeah, I got back into gaming seriously because of Ubisoft, and now I just don't want to even talk or like see anything about them. Anyway, this rant might go on for hours, so I'll end it here, and hopefully I'll get back to some regular videos soon. But yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah, see you next time.